Hey guys, welcome back. Drip and Farm for Pop. I'm your host, Drip Coach, and let's jump right into it. So today we're going to be sharing some info from Wasteland Labs, and they've been doing some teasers for a little while now, but now they have a second prologue video, and you may not be aware of it. And actually, many of us in the community don't really know what this is, but I want to play it for you guys and then break down some of the information in the videos because they've left quite a few Easter eggs and a lot of parallels to the community and how things developed. So I don't know what they're actually doing, but I do encourage you guys to follow them and figure out what the alpha is. Shout out to Drip to Wealth Kryptonite. So I post from him, so that made me come check these guys out. So we're gonna first start with their Twitter. So this is November 5th for me, but they put this out. So their first post was on October 15th, and it's just a GIF and just had some looking eyes and said Drip Community. So nothing really to dig into there, but then their next post came yesterday. It says, "G'day, mate. And if you've made this far, reckon you're dead set keen on breathing life back into the Drip Network community. But let me tell you, a road's just dust without a bit of asphalt and proper pavement. Water's as rare as hen's teeth out here in the wasteland. But old Team Alpha, we've got a trick up our sleeves. Keep an ear out for more announcements. Stay tuned, because we're nearly at our destination. Once we arrive, there ain't no U-turns, mate. Team Alpha signing off." So you can come check out their YouTube, which is where the videos were leaked. And the Team Alpha one was this one. It was a short that they put up. I forgot how long ago. It's a little over a month, I think. I'm not going to play that clip for you. You guys can come check that out. But I am going to play two of the clips, the Prologue and Prologue 2. Because these give the most details, and this Prologue 2 just came out on the 4th with that post from YouTube. I'm sorry, from Twitter, x.com. So we're gonna play the Prologue, and then I'm gonna go back and play these again and actually break down to me what they're saying or what I got from the information. I guess it can be interpreted many different ways, but the plot and information kind of breadcrumbs are leaving to me tell one story, and I'm going to share that idea with you guys. So let's listen to that first.
Generally speaking today, sensational. If you're going to the pool, definitely still hot with temps in the upper 80s and low 90s. The UV will be at a 9, so very high, and burn time could be in as little as 15 minutes. So you do need to sort of pull out all your tricks today to protect yourself from the heat, to stay hydrated, all that good stuff.
The world is out of joint. Am I hallucinating? Looks like blue skies. Just remember, in this city, there's no such thing as a happy ending. Before the boom, water flowed like hope through these neon-lit streets, where prosperity wore a slick facade. But beneath that glossy surface, whispers of war and ominous bear markets crawled through the cracks like vermin in the night.
Ron, that puppy is the cutest. And in other news, war and bear markets.
The world carried on, its citizens oblivious to what would come next. It came with water supplies drying up on a massive scale. As the water supplies dwindled at an unprecedented rate, it was as if the world had transformed into an insatiable sponge, greedily absorbing every drop. It wasn't just the scarcity of water that plagued us, it was trust, the once cherished currency that had stealthily retreated into the shadows, leaving behind a trail of fractured dreams and shattered souls. Then, it happened.
Some folks say it was like the heart of the people went ice cold and they turned on each other, lost in the shadows of their own despair. Apocalyptic survivor. So that's the clip. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go back and break down some of this because, yeah, it's interesting to say the least, what they've drawn parallels to in the drip community and some of the stuff that we've seen. So it's, you know, not sure what story they're trying to tell, but we can definitely see some parallels. So I believe the boom for us in the drip community, we'll play Prologue too, is when the switch got flipped. So that's when we went to a deflationary state, and that's actually when they started putting out a lot of this content as well. And before this, they're talking about, you know, water and being a currency. So let's play a couple clips in here.
Just remember, in this city, there's no such thing as a happy ending. Before the boom, water flowed like hope through these neon-lit streets.
So that could be a reference to how the faucet was just basically flowing, free-flowing, and there was the inflation basically, you know, that's hope. It's like one day maybe we'll get this back under, not the inflation side, but the token value will go back up and we all will be rich because you have this unlimited supply. So that's this prosperity. It's just like money going around. And yeah, we saw, you know, technically the value dropping repeated over and over and over and over again. But before the boom, the money flowed freely, you know, or the drip flowed freely.
Where prosperity wore a slick facade, but beneath that glossy surface, whispers of war and ominous bear markets crawled through the cracks like vermin in the night.
Now, I don't know if that's reference to the actual real bear market or, you know, what was happening with drip, but definitely the war side. Could that be war within the community? Or could that be the war that was going on in the actual real world political front? Like it's hard to say.
Ron, that puppy is the cutest. And in other news, war and bear markets.
I don't know if that puppy is reference to us constantly hearing Pikachu in all of the AMAs, or just random kind of distractions that we're used to in the political front. It's like, hey, look over here. Oh, and by the way, you know, the sky is falling.
The world carried on, its citizens oblivious to what would come next. It came with water supplies drying up on a massive scale.
Now, so this is before the boom. So the boom to me, again, represents the flip of the switch, the drip faucet being turned off. Now, in this example, or what they're talking about in the story here, is that the water began drying up. Now, to me, that could mean the actual value of the drip token began to dry up. Like, yeah, you're getting more and more of this token, but the value of it was getting more and more worth less. So we were seeing like hope essentially, you know, withering away, and we're just wondering how soon something will actually change.
As the water supplies dwindled at an unprecedented rate,
and that was definitely what we saw, an unprecedented rate. Like the drip value, token value, was just dropping exponentially more than the 1% a day that we were getting.
As if the world had transformed into an insatiable sponge, greedily absorbing every drop. It wasn't just the scarcity of water that plagued us, it was trust, the once cherished currency that had stealthily retreated into the shadows. It wasn't
really
just the scarcity of water that plagued us, absorbing every drop. It wasn't just the scarcity of water that plagued us.
It wasn't just the scarcity of water that plagued us. And here's a drip logo, and then this says WAD. I don't know what that actually could stand for, but let's continue.
It was trust, the once cherished currency that had stealthily retreated into the shadows.
It was trust, the once, I forgot how to say that, but scarcely retreated into the shadows. So it wasn't the shortage of the drip value, it was trust. That was the big thing. So that to me tells me what we saw within the ecosystem and how Forex was not honest, and how a lot of the OGs, well, one of the OGs was not honest. So there was a lot of trust that was lost in the ecosystem. And it wasn't just the value of the token going down. It was more so that trust, and people believed and drank the Kool-Aid. And that's really the catastrophe that's plagued the community.
The once cherished currency that had stealthily retreated into the shadows.
Yeah, cherished currency. Trust is the cherished currency, not drip. That's fascinating how that we wove weaved that together.
leaving behind a trail of fractured dreams and shattered souls.
And definitely ended up with fractured dreams and shattered souls. So all of us had this pie in the sky dream that we would become drip millionaires off of this. And once that trust left, you saw people going into other platforms, me putting out content saying don't trust Forex. I wasn't the only one, but literally that just crushed everybody because we didn't see this coming.
Then it happened.
And so I think this is, again, the flip of the switch, the boom. So I don't know what they're planning with this after now they turn drip into a deflationary state. That's what we're going to find out in Prologue 2. Let's continue.
In this bleak world where water became the ultimate struggle, there emerged a group. They were driven by excess, ruled by fear, and nurtured by uncertainty, all while recklessly squandering the world's most precious resource.
I'm going to break this one down as we go through. So that's an interesting opening right there too. There emerged a group driven by excess, ruled by fear, and nurtured by uncertainty, all while recklessly squandering the world's most precious resource. So clearly they got the drip logo here, and emerged a group driven by excess. Who could that be? Well, to me, that is literally the people that leech the system. And ruled by fear, that to me is literally Ray. Because what did he do? He banned people in the drip chat for asking questions, kicked them out so that you couldn't get information, and then lied, literally gaslighted about the narrative in which he was pumping his own bags. I don't know if they're pointing the finger at Ray, but those are some strong words, in my opinion, that they open this part 2 with. Emerged a group driven by excess, ruled by fear, and nurtured by uncertainty. The uncertainty, of course, was being nurtured by Forex himself because we had no idea what was coming, all while recklessly squandering the world's most precious resource. So clearly the people that were getting the most drip were dumping it on the market, all while the rest of us were hydrating and compounding with quote unquote good drip behavior. That's how I interpret that.
And so remember, kids, the world is mostly covered in water.
Lorianne, pass this note.
Okay.
But only about 1% of the world is clean drinking water. That's a very...
That was just kind of interesting. You know, they used the 1%, you know, just talking about the world covered in water. And then, of course, we got 1% per day. So, and no digging into that one.
important fact.
What did he say?
They grew up like a lot of us did, where water was plentiful. But something extra happened for these folk that raised them up with a false sense of entitlement. There were signs that things weren't right.
And that's interesting too. So they said grew up like a lot of us did, where water was plentiful, but something extra happened for these folk that raised them up with a false sense of entitlement. There were signs that things weren't right. So that to me is the information that was being shared in the drip community, that something wasn't right with the amount of inflation and stuff like that, and that things need to be fixed. But no one was answering the call. We were all knee deep in the Kool-Aid, drinking it, and basically Forex was ignoring it. And then whenever questions got brought up, we got gaslit. So there was this false sense of entitlement, I'm guessing, from those that got in early, and that were just, you know, recklessly basically inflating drips, selling it, and just dropping the token price dramatically. And then, of course, all of us, we had a little bit of entitlement as well, because the rest of us that played the game correctly were like, well, if I just wait my turn and I compound, I'll get what's due to me as well. So that's, again, another interesting way to word this. I have no idea what they're trying to say. Maybe it's just coincidence. Who knows?
Ron, that puppy is the cutest. And in other news, war and
Bobby
bear
Joe,
markets.
do you see that puppy? Dad, can we go to the pet store tomorrow?
I don't know, guys. I think the mall is closed for some reason.
Nobody was listening, though, when the water ran dry. Never seen anything like it. When things got tough, these folks were asked to give a little back if they took more than their share. To keep things moving, to keep hope alive, this contribution would go directly towards sustaining the water network supply.
And that, again, is very interesting. So he said when things got tough, these folks were asked to give a little bit of it back if they took more than their share. To keep things moving, to keep hope alive, this contribution would go directly to sustaining the water network supply. So clearly some parallels there. Remember, we all had the buy and burn challenge, but specifically when the narrator just mentioned these folks were asked to give back if they took a little more than their share. That to me sounds like the greedy Ray Bartertowns and the leechers within the drip community. So I know that there was an actual initiative from other people, not the buy and burn, but it was like, yo, if you made more off a drip than you put in, you know, put more back. And even shout out to Mystify. He put out a challenge to Ray to say, like, burn these wallets. So that to me is what they're talking about there. It's not the people that actually compounded and got wrecked. It's the ones that made millions and only put in a couple 100,000, or made a couple 100,000 and only put in 1,000. That's what this is referenced, in my opinion.
Well, these folks just weren't having that. They felt strongly that water was owed them. United by their fervent conviction that water is their birthright, they embarked on a mission to disrupt the city's fragile water infrastructure. Their audacious water raids and defiant public displays of excessive consumption were their weapons.
And I think that's interesting as well. So their audacious water raids and their defiant displays of public consumption, like overconsumption, that sounds like the airdrops. Giving a bunch of airdrops, just like showing how philanthropic you are and giving away so much drip, and how it just comes from the sky and you don't have to, be mindful of it. So excessive consumption were their weapons of were their weapons of choice. That's, again, to me, just represents what we saw with these lavish airdrops and how it was supposed to be about, being a good team leader and all this stuff like that. And definitely these individuals, one particular, made it seem, though, as drip was his birthright, and definitely the way he spoke about this as well, his well in the oasis and blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, I don't know if this is what they're getting at, but that's how I interpret a lot of this stuff.
As the city teetered on the precipice of catastrophe.
The city teetering on the precipice of catastrophe is clearly the bifurcation in the community.
These folks' unquenchable thirst for water led them down a treacherous path. They became the embodiment of excess, a force that would stop at nothing to claim their perceived right to the world's most precious resource.
That definitely sounds like, I'm sure Ray would say that's the meth head fudders, but that to me is the people that abuse drip and feel like it's their birthright and that they can take out as much as they want and they will stop at nothing to ensure that it continues to feed their bags. So that means they can gaslight. That means they can change the narrative. That means they can make groups and kick you out. That means they can change the rules. They'll do whatever, or even make leeching referral structures. It doesn't matter. They'll do whatever it takes to get as much of this water supply as possible, aka drip.
Now, Mr. Smith, is it?
Uh-huh.
It is my duty to inform you, sir, that the water contract you're paying for is not drinking water. Officially, it's earmarked for the elephants, but it falls under what would be considered gray water.
That's interesting. So the elephant reference, possibly shout out to BT and Elephant Money, and then calling it gray water. If you're familiar with plumbing and stuff like that, they do it out here in Cambodia. So gray water is basically the one level above your actual sewage water. So what happens is you have a 3-tank system where the water flows in with the sewage. So you flush the toilet, it goes into this, call it a ditch. And then as the settlement goes down to the bottom, the gray water now floats up and then it flows out through another pipe. And then that water goes into another ditch. And then you do this over and over again until you get like clear water, still with bacteria, but it's no longer gray. So shit water, basically, wonder if that's like shit tokens. and kind of making reference to elephant and BT. I have no idea, but interesting that they use those two terminologies.
Not for human consumption. If anybody consumes this water or it enters the water supply and causes problems, we are not liable in any way.
So I think that's like if you get rugged or you lose your money, not liable if you participate with this water, so to speak, or these other tokens.
Don't worry about it. Water's water.
DeFi is DeFi.
And then, it happened.
So again, I think this boom is the switch being flipped again. We never saw an end to it, you know, but after the sky is lit up with destruction, it's like the world got a transfusion of pure spite. Makes you wonder if that's what was simmering under the skin the whole time. Funny, in the midst of all this chaos, I had just scribbled the check for my car's last payment. Useless now. Now this sounds, since the boom just came right before this sounds like all of us that compounded all the way to max wallet. So you just scribbling the check for your car's last payment is like you just getting to that final max payout of 100K or whatever it is. And then now it's useless because the boom, aka the flip, is switched, and now you're not getting any of that. That's what this sounds like to me, but don't know. They became known as the Wasted. So I think that's it. This one already played before. So let me know what you guys think about that. So I find it fascinating. I shared my parallels. Again, don't know if they're true or not, but I want you guys to go back and definitely follow their channel. They're putting in a lot of production value for sure, and the teasers and stuff like that. So we will see what they do with it, how it supports drip. Clearly drip references, drip logos in there, stay hydrated, all that stuff. So it looks like it could be, you know, it could be a DApp, it could be a game, it could be a graphic novel. I have no idea, but shouts out to whoever these individuals are. All right, smash that HBO special, help brother out, like, subscribe, comment down below, and until next time, lift daily and achieve.
Want to pay your in real life bills with crypto? How about send crypto directly to anyone with a bank account? SPRITZ Finance is a decentralized solution to be your own bank and connect your crypto earnings to real-world bills and payments. They do not take custody of your assets and allow support on multiple blockchains and Web3 wallets. Sign up below using my referral link and you will get $50 back when you make your first $50 bill payment with crypto. Additionally, I will be using referral bonuses to airdrop, donate, or burn based on community feedback. Sign up now.